You've been lied to. You were told that hard work automatically leads to wealth. That if you just hustle enough, if you just grind longer, one day you'll wake up rich. But let me ask you this. How many people do you know who work harder than anyone else and are still broke? Probably a lot. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's you. And yet, there's a tiny group of people, the rich, who seem to play by different rules. They make more while working less. They take vacations in the middle of the week. Their money grows while they sleep. How? Are they smarter? Luckier? Or did they just figure out truths that no one ever taught you? This video is not about get-rich-quick schemes. This is about truth. The truth about how rich people actually think. The kind of mindset that separates them from everyone else. Because here's the brutal reality. If you don't think like the rich, you will work for them forever. And no, I'm not saying you have to become a billionaire or live in a mansion in Monaco. But if you want freedom, real freedom, the kind where you wake up and choose your life every single day, then you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. By the way, I'm not here to waste your time. So if you've already felt something shift in your thinking, even just a little, hit that subscribe button right now. Because this channel isn't about no's, it's about truth. And if that's what you're hungry for, you're in the right place. Alright, let me share with you 3 uncomfortable, liberating truths that rich people know, and that no one ever taught you. But before we begin, this isn't a passive video. I need you fully here. Take notes, pause when something hits. And if anything I say feels uncomfortable, good. That means it's breaking something inside you that needs to go. Ready? Let me ask you something personal. If I gave you $1 million right now, tax-free, no strings attached, what would you do with it? Would you quit your job? Buy a house? Travel the world? Most people smile at the thought. They imagine how their life would change. The freedom, the relief, the proof that all the struggle was finally worth it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't understand the difference between money and time, that million will disappear faster than it came, and you'll be right back where you started. Broke, tired, confused, and blaming the system. That's why the first truth you need to hear is this. The rich do not trade time for money. They trade value for freedom. And the problem with most of us is that we've been trained, conditioned, really, to believe that our time is the most valuable thing we can sell. We're taught to be punctual, productive, and perfectly obedient. And for what? A paycheck that buys us just enough food to survive the next week of selling more time. You know what that sounds like? Wage slavery. Now don't get me wrong. There is honor in hard work. That if hard work was all it took to get rich, construction workers would be billionaires. Let that sink in. There's a man somewhere right now working 14-hour shifts under the sun, breaking his back to feed his kids. And then there's a 27-year-old kid with a Wi-Fi connection who just made $80,000 last month while hiking in Bali. Life is not fair, but it is strategic. And that strategy, the one the rich use, is simple. They refuse to sell their time. Because time is finite. You only get one life, one body, one window of health and energy. So why would you trade that for a paycheck? Instead, they ask a different question, one you should start asking too. How can I build something that keeps giving even when I'm not there? I want to tell you about Melissa. Melissa was a freelance graphic designer making about $60,000 a year. She was good at what she did, but she felt stuck. Every time she took on more work, she ran out of hours. Every time she raised her prices, clients pushed back. She was tired, burnt out, and honestly, scared. Because if she got sick, she didn't get paid. One day, she did something different. She took her most requested designs and turned them into templates, packaged them up, put them on a marketplace, and forgot about it. You know what happened? In the first month, $124. In the second, $431. In the sixth month, $2,100, all passive. No new work, just value. Multiply. Now is she a millionaire? Not yet, but she's free. Because for the first time in her life, money came in while she slept. And that's the shift I want you to feel. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. You don't need to invent the next iPhone, but you do need to shift your mindset from hourly labor to exponential leverage. So how do you start? First, you have to kill the idea that time equals money. That's a trap. Time is only money if you're poor. For the rich, time is leverage. Time is opportunity. Time is power. You have to start thinking of your hours like seeds, not coins. You don't spend them, you plant them, and you plant them into things that grow. Skills, systems, assets, relationships. Let's break this down. If you're spending 10 hours a week scrolling TikTok, that's not entertainment, that's theft. You are stealing from your future self. Every hour wasted is a compound loss. Now imagine spending that same time creating something, a product, a podcast, a page of a book, something that lives beyond you. The rich think in assets, the poor think in wages. Let me repeat that. The rich think in assets, the poor think in wages. Every hour you work for someone else, you're renting your life. You're building their dream. That's fine, temporarily. But if you don't eventually pivot and build something of your own, you will always be replaceable. And here's the scary part. Most jobs aren't just exhausting, they're shrinking you. You stop dreaming, you stop building, you stop growing. You become a perfectly efficient cog, but you're not a cog, you're a creator. You were born with ideas, passions, genius. And the longer you sell your time, the more those gifts die quietly in the dark. You know what I want for you? Options. Options are the true currency of the rich. The option to take a day off without guilt. The option to say no to toxic people. The option to travel, to pivot, to build your own reality. But options require assets, and assets require value. So stop thinking about hours, and start thinking about leverage. Okay, let's get practical. You don't need 1 million followers to start creating leverage. You don't need a viral product. You just need a single scalable idea. Can you turn your knowledge into a course? Can you package your creativity into a product? Can you build a system that connects people, solves a problem, or automates a process? Ask yourself, what do people already ask me for help with? That's where the gold is. Now some of you might be thinking, well, I don't have time to do that. And I get it. You're working long hours, barely surviving. But let me hit you with this. If you don't have time now, when will you? When you're 60? When your back gives out? When inflation eats your savings? If you don't fight for your time now, someone else will own it forever. Here's what I did when I had no time. I woke up 1 hour earlier, just one. And I used that hour like it was sacred. No scrolling, no distractions, just building. In 1 year, that single hour changed my life. It built a channel, a business, a new reality. If I can do it, you can too. And if you're watching this and thinking, okay, this is uncomfortable, but it makes sense, I want you to do something right now. Pause this video. Write down 3 things you could create that don't require your constant presence. And when you're done, drop a comment and tell me the first one you're going to build. Why? Because when you say it out loud, it starts to become real. You see, the poor work to survive, the rich build to escape. And you get to choose which game you want to play. So next time you hear someone say, time is money, you look them in the eye and say, no, time is freedom, and I'm not selling mine anymore. If that resonated, hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for you, because the content I'm giving you here, it's not fluff, it's not hype, it's the stuff no one ever taught us, but everyone should have. And that was truth number 1. Let me know when you're ready for truth number 2, because the next one, it will either piss you off or change your life. Here's something most people never say out loud, but feel deep in their gut. I feel like I'm doing everything right, but I'm still stuck. They read the books, watch the videos, hustle every day, and yet, they're still living paycheck to paycheck, still afraid to check their bank account, still wondering why it feels like something is broken. Want to know why? Because it is broken, but not just in the system, in the mindset. Truth number 2 is this. The rich don't play the game, they change the rules. Let that sit with you. While most people are busy trying to win a game they never designed, the rich are rewriting it entirely. And here's the wild part. The rules you were taught to follow were never made to help you win. They were made to keep you in line. Let's rewind for a second. From the moment we're born, we're placed in systems. School teaches us to sit still, memorize, follow instructions. Then we go to college, rack up debt we don't understand, and pray it lands us a job we're not excited about. And if we're lucky, we retire at 65. Maybe, with enough money to survive, not thrive. Does that sound like freedom to you? It's not a conspiracy. It's just programming. And most people never question it. But the rich, they question everything. Let me tell you about a guy named Thomas. Thomas worked at a major investment bank. 6 figures, suits every day. Looked like he had it all, but he felt like a fraud. Why? Because he realized he was selling investments he didn't believe in to people who didn't understand them. One day he asked his boss, "Why do we push these products so hard when they don't really help the client?" His boss laughed and said, "Because it helps the bank." That was the day Thomas walked out. He took a 6-month sabbatical, studied the psychology of money, and started his own platform teaching financial literacy. Honestly, today, he helps more people in a month than he ever did in a year on Wall Street. Why? Because he stopped playing their game. Now look, I'm not saying you have to quit your job or expose the matrix. I'm saying you need to zoom out and ask, whose rules am I following? And are they working for me or against me? Here's what I mean. You were told that saving money is the key to wealth, but inflation eats your savings every year. You were told that owning a home is the ultimate investment, but most people end up house poor, drowning in debt, with no cash flow. You were told to avoid a risk, but avoiding risk is the riskiest thing you can do in a world that changes every day. Do you see the pattern? The rules you were given are designed to keep you comfortable, not powerful. And comfort is the enemy of transformation. The rich, they embrace discomfort. They seek out new rules. They even create them. Think of someone like Elon Musk. Whether you love him or hate him, the man redefined 3 industries: cars, energy, and space. By refusing to follow the rules, everyone told him it was impossible, too risky, too expensive. But he didn't care, because he wasn't asking for permission. He was building his own game. Now you might say, "That's Elon Musk. I'm just trying to get out of debt." Fair point. But here's the secret. You don't need billions to change the rules. You just need clarity, courage, and creativity. Let's get practical. One of the most powerful things you can do today is identify which invisible rules you're still following and decide if they still serve you. Here are a few to question right now. Success means climbing the corporate ladder. Says who? What if success means designing your own ladder? Debt is always bad. False. Rich people use debt strategically to invest in assets, not liabilities. Security is better than freedom. No. That's fear talking. Real security comes from adaptability, not from a job title. Start replacing those old beliefs with better ones, like this. Instead of "I can't afford it," say "How can I create the money for it?" Instead of "I'm not qualified," say "I can learn anything." Instead of "I'm too late," say "Now is always the best time." Your internal language is the first rule you have to rewrite, because your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions shape your reality. Want another example? There's a woman named Jenna who started her business with $300 and zero experience. Everyone told her to play it safe, just get a job, stabilize first. She said no. Not because she was reckless, but because she saw a different path. She didn't take a course. She didn't wait for permission. She just started. Messy, imperfect, and fast. Today she runs a 6-figure e-commerce brand. And when people ask her secret, she says, "I stopped following broken rules." So the question is, which rules are keeping you small? And are you brave enough to break them? Now let's talk about something people rarely admit. Jealousy. Yeah. That twinge you feel when you see someone doing what you wish you could do. Posting their wins. Living free. Building fast. Here's the twist. Jealousy is not a flaw. It's a compass. It shows you what you truly want, if you're willing to listen. So when you feel that tang, don't scroll away. Stop. Ask, what is this revealing about my own desires? What rule have I accepted that's keeping me from that life? And then go rewrite it. Because the truth is, the richest people in the world are not rule followers, they're pattern breakers. They see through illusions. They challenge assumptions. They look at what everyone else is doing and do the opposite. And maybe that's why you're here. Because something in you knows, the rules you were taught, they don't work anymore. You don't need more discipline. You need a new paradigm. So here's your action step. Write down 3 rules you were taught about money or success that now feel suspicious. Then challenge them. Find examples that break them. And start building your own framework, one that actually leads to freedom. And if this truth hits you hard, if you feel like you've just taken the red pill, then hit that like button. Not because I asked you to, but because this message deserves to reach more people like you. Also, subscribe. Because this journey doesn't stop here. I'm giving you the map I wish I had 10 years ago. And every video is another step toward the life they told you was impossible. So, are you ready for truth number 3? Because this last one It's the one that most people never figure out, and it's exactly why they stay broke, even when they start making money. Let me ask you a brutal question. Why do so many people who finally start making good money stay broke? They get the promotion, they land the client, their income doubles, and somehow, they're still living month to month, still stressed, still one emergency away from collapse. It's not because they don't work hard, and it's not because they're stupid. It's because they never learned the third truth about how rich people think. Rich people don't chase money. They attract it by becoming someone it can't ignore. Let me say that again, because this one flips everything on its head. The poor chase money. The rich magnetize it. That's not woo-woo. That's not law of attraction magic. That's mechanics, psychology, energy, positioning. Here's the difference. The poor operate from desperation. Every financial decision is about escape. Escape the debt. Escape the job. Escape the shame. So they make short-term moves that destroy long-term power. They accept clients they hate. They underprice their work. They stay quiet when they should raise their voice. And money runs away from that energy. But the rich, the ones who build lasting wealth, they don't beg for money. They become undeniable. They invest in their mindset, their skills, their network, their health, their brand. They ask better questions. They speak with confidence. They show up like they've already made it. And the world starts treating them accordingly. Let me give you a story. 2 years ago, I met a guy named Malik. He was a freelance copywriter charging $100 per project, living on ramen and anxiety. I asked him, "Why so cheap?" He said, "I don't want to scare clients away." I told him, "If your prices scare them away, they were never your clients." That hit him hard. So he did something scary. He raised his rates to $1,000. Same service, same skills, just higher standards. And you know what happened? He lost some people, the lowballers, the micromanagers, the vampires. But then, the real clients showed up, the ones who respected his work, who paid on time, who asked less, expected more, and got better results. Why? Because he stopped chasing. He positioned himself as the prize. And money always flows toward the prize. If you want to build wealth, you have to stop being a beggar in your own life. Now listen. This doesn't mean walking around with fake confidence. It means becoming someone who is so full of value, conviction, and clarity that the world has no choice but to pay attention. And that starts with one thing: identity. Who do you believe you are? Because here's the truth. You will never outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as broke, behind, unlucky, your brain will make sure that story stays true. But if you start seeing yourself as a creator, a builder, a force, even before the money shows up, then everything begins to shift. Not because of magic, because you start moving differently. You say no to cheap opportunities. You invest in growth instead of guilt. You speak from vision, not fear. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "What would the best version of me do right now?" That's how wealth begins, in the identity. Now let's get tactical. There are 3 practical ways to stop chasing money and start attracting it. 1. Master one rare and valuable skill. Not 10. Not 20. 1. Too many people are generalists. They're good at a lot of things, but great at nothing. And in a nosy world, good is invisible. But if you become great at solving one painful problem, people will find you, pay you, refer you. And that skill doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be specific, needed, and sharpened. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do better than 99% of people I know? Double down on that. Study it like your life depends on it. Build a name around it. When you're that good, people don't ask how much. They ask, when can you start? 2. Build a reputation that speaks when you're not in the room. This is huge. Money flows to trust, and trust is built through consistency, clarity, and proof. That means you need to start putting yourself out there. Share your ideas. Show your process. Teach what you know. Document your journey. If I Google your name, man, nothing comes up. You're invisible. Build your digital footprint like it's your resume for the future, because it is. People don't just buy products anymore. They buy people. They buy trust. They buy energy. You want to attract money? Make sure people know what you do, why you do it, and how they can work with you. 3. Stop thinking like an employee, even if you are one. This is mindset. Employees wait for permission. Rich thinkers create it. Employees hope for raises. Rich thinkers raise the value they bring. Employees focus on job descriptions. Rich thinkers focus on outcomes. If you want to escape the trap, you have to start behaving like the owner of your life. That means managing your energy, your time, your network, your thoughts, like they're your most important assets. Now I want to talk about something nobody says, but everyone feels. There's a quiet shame that comes with being broke. You start believing it's your fault, that you're just bad with money, that maybe you'll never get ahead. But I want you to hear me right now. Your worth is not your net worth. Money is not a reflection of your value as a human being. It's a reflection of your strategy, your systems, your environment, and your beliefs. And all of those can be changed. I've seen people go from bankruptcy to abundance, from eviction notices to dream homes, from crying in the shower to crying tears of joy when they bought their mama house. Not because they found a magic formula, but because they finally believed they were allowed to win. So I'm asking you, right now, can you allow yourself to win? Not survive, not get by, not scrape through. Win. Because you deserve that. And not in some motivational, fluffy way, but in the most real, tangible way possible. You deserve to be free. You deserve to walk into a room and feel proud of who you are. You deserve to build a life that makes other people whisper, "Damn, how did they do that?" And you can. But you have to stop chasing, stop apologizing, stop waiting, and start becoming someone who builds so much value, radiates so much conviction, and moves with so much purpose that money can't help but flow to you. Not because you begged for it, because you became the kind of person it wants to be around. If you made it this far in the video, first of all, respect. That tells me you're not just curious, you're committed. So do me a favor, if this final truth spoke to something deep in you, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this video matters. But more importantly, it signals to you that this message landed. And of course, subscribe, because this isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning. You've now heard the 3 truths about how rich people think. They don't trade time for money. They don't play by the rules. They rewrite them. And they don't chase money. They attract it by becoming magnetic. The only question now is, what will you do with this? Will you close this tab and go back to sleepwalking through life? Or will you take one step today, even a small one, toward the version of you that's been waiting to break free? The choice is yours. But whatever you decide, just don't forget what you heard here. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you believe it, the game will never be the same. If you're still here, watching, then something in you is done waiting. Done living small. Done playing safe. Done letting money, or the lack of it, define your worth. And if that's you, then don't let this video be just interesting. Let it be a turning point. Because transformation doesn't happen from knowing. It happens from doing. From deciding. So decide. Decide to stop selling your time. Decide to stop following rules that were never made for you. Decide to become someone who attracts the life you were meant for. Not someday. Now. And listen. If you want more than just information, if you want direction, clarity, and a fire that doesn't burn out after 2 days, subscribe right now. Because this isn't a channel, it's a shift. And the people who stay, they don't just learn how to get rich. They learn how to become unstoppable. I'll see you soon.